We spent over $30,000 on pod lights to try to figure out which one is best. In this video specifically, we're going to talk about the two LED chips. We're going to talk about the warranty, the light output. We're going to show you guys the candela and the lux. We're going to figure out which one is truly the best. So follow us and let's get started. So to make this easy, I'm going to split this up in a few different sections. A lot of these have a spot driving beam pattern, a lot have a wide driving beam pattern, some have a combo driving beam pattern, and all of them have a flood beam pattern. So in this video, let's start with the spot beam pattern. The spot beam pattern is for somebody that's driving down the trails fast. You want to put the light centralized as far down as possible. The pod lights we are comparing today is the Diode Dynamics SSC2 Sport and Pro, the Auxbeam 4-inch 2 LED, the Morimoto 2-banger with the HXB and the NCS, the Rigid SRM Pro, the Nilight 3-inch LED pod, the Baja Designs S2 Pro and S2 Sport, Mictuning, the 20-watt flush mount LED pod, Hertic Studios BA2, and the KC C-Series C2. It's hard just to answer the question which one of these are best because some of these might perform better in a spot beam pattern, some might perform better in a flood beam pattern. So first, let's go ahead and compare all of the spot beam patterns. So let's get rolling. We got the Diode Dynamics SSC2 Sport in the spot beam pattern. As you can see here, they have a claim candela of 91,000. Now we also confirmed the candela by measuring it ourselves to make sure everything is accurate. And in our measurements, we got 78,500. That is less than their claim candela, but I want to let you guys know right now, all of the other diode products that we've ever tested from the single LED chips, their claim candela was very accurate. Not sure why ours was lower than theirs, but let's keep moving. At 10 meters away, our lux was $785. These come in at around $180. Now these do come in a yellow lens as well. So if you want the yellow lens, it looks like this. It comes in still at around $180. In our measurements, we measured 70,300 candela, which is crazy because that's a lot higher than their claim candela. So good on Diode Dynamics. I think this product is actually better than they are claiming. At 10 meters, our measured lux was at 703. That's around 30% less bright than the white version, and that's pretty normal. You generally lose up to 30% in brightness converting that white over to a yellow lens. They do come in at $280 compared to the $180 of the Sport version, so they are substantially more expensive. But how do they perform? Their claim candela is at 97,000. Their claim candela does measure higher than their Sport version, which makes sense because their Sport was the entry low. If we're looking at the claim candela, that's about 6.5% brighter than the SSC2 Sport, which makes sense because it's more expensive. If you're gonna do the single LED chip, it's completely opposite. I don't understand that, but here we go. The measured candela that we took was 87,800, so a little bit less than the 97,000 claimed, but still pretty close. From 10 meters, we got 878 lux. The SSC2 Pro also comes in yellow at around $280, and their claim candela is 84,000. We measured 68,900, so we couldn't quite replicate their claim candela, and that's just fine. From 10 meters, we measured 689 lux. Those are really impressive numbers, and I know a lot of people out there are fans of Diode Dynamics, but I think we could do even better. Let's check out the Auxbeam and see how they perform. Just so you're aware, Auxbeam only has a spot driving beam pattern, so don't expect to buy this if you wanted a flood or a wide or a combo. And also, by the looks of it, it's way too big. This is the biggest pod light that I can find here. This is the last thing you want. All of these are much more compact, and then also the wiring. Look at this wiring. This is an off-road pod light. You're gonna go in the snow, you're gonna go in the mud. That's one thing to consider. The last product had a 4-pin Deutsch connector. This just got a positive and negative battery connection. This will be a failure point. This oversized pod comes in around $75 in all of our findings. We do not see a claim candela. We did go ahead and measure the candela, and we measured 30,400. That is not very bright at all. Remember, what we've seen so far is in the 90,000 candela range. This is not even close. We measured 304 maximum lux at 10 meters. I don't know about you, but I do not want Auxbeam on my vehicle. Let's check out the brand new Morimoto 2-banger. HXB is their highest end version. There is an NCS we'll get to in just a second. The HXB comes in around $285. They have a claim candela of 147,500. Yes, that is the highest claim candela out of all of the pod lights you're going to see today. They have the lifetime warranty, and in all of our testing, we measured 159,000 candela. So it's pretty wild to see that their claim candela is even less than we measured. And we all measured the exact same day, the exact same time, in the exact same way across the board for this entire video. At 10 meters, we measured 1,590 lux. That's still brighter than the Diode Dynamics candela rating out of their Pro series. The coolest part about the Morimoto lineup is that they have a lifetime warranty. The 2-banger HXB does also come in a yellow with the spot beam pattern, around $285 like all of them you'll see from Morimoto. They have a claim candela here of 95,000, which is crazy because our measured candela was 104,200. Something to note, like I said, you do lose quite a bit of brightness when converting over to a yellow lens, but that yellow lens 2-banger is more bright in the spot beam pattern in yellow compared to any of the Diode Dynamics, which is crazy, in white. That is bizarre that a yellow version can be brighter than all of their white versions, their sport level and their pro level. The Morimoto 2-banger does have 2 different power levels, the HXB, which is their brightest Mac Daddy pod. They also have the NCS, which is their entry level pod. It does come in at a little bit cheaper. Now let's show you guys the 2-banger NCS, their entry level in white, the spot beam pattern. Around $185 they come, and they have a claim candela of 97,500. So even their entry level is brighter than the next highest one, which was the Diode Dynamics HODs. That was 1,003 lux at 10 meters. And here's what the Morimoto 2-banger NCS in yellow looks like. Here's a spot beam pattern, still at around $185. It does lose quite a bit of brightness. They have a claim candela here of 55,000, but still that lifetime warranty, even though this is their entry level pod. And we measured 55,600 candela. So they're claimed and what we measured is very accurate here. As you can see, from 10 meters, we measured 556 lux. So far, if you buy a spot beam pattern, the Morimoto one is the brightest, but is it the best? This is the Rigid SRM Pro. The Rigid SRM Pro in white and the spot beam pattern comes at around $149 on their website. I do see a lifetime warranty, which is great, but I did not see a claim candela anywhere on their website. Once we tested it, we measured around 30,500 candela or 305 lux at 10 meters. Now let's go ahead and check out the Nilight, the 3-inch LED pod. The thing is, I've searched and I cannot find any candela rating online. The Nilight only comes in white, it does not come in a yellow beam pattern, and it also only comes in a spot beam pattern. The Nilight 3-inch LED pod in white with a spot beam pattern has a price of $33, which is substantially cheaper than anything you've seen. However, it's got a 2-year warranty. This is the last thing you want, a terrible warranty in something like this. I don't see claim candela anywhere. I don't see any advertised lumens. So we went ahead and tested it and measured 45,000 candela or 450 lux at 10 meters. So weirdly enough, that's actually brighter than the Rigid SRM. I didn't want to be the one to say it, but Rigid, you got to step it up on your spot beam. Now let's dive into the Baja Designs. The Baja S2 Sport in the white color comes in around $225 on their website. I do see a lifetime warranty here, which is great for an off-road LED pod light. I do not see any claim candela here, but they do advertise lumens. They have a lumen rating of 1,581, which doesn't really help us in this testing. So what we did was measure the candela and got around 29,500. It's kind of silly that Auxbeam, Rigid, and Nilight are even brighter than the Baja Sport white pod lights. Let me show you the amber beam pattern real quick. Same pricing, I see around $225. They measure their lumens the same as the white version, 1,581. They do have the lifetime warranty, and in our testing, we measured 27,500. It was actually the least amount of lost light output. It's not bright. At 10 meters, we only measured 275 lux. Terrible. Thankfully, that was Baja's entry-level pod, so let's check out the S2 Pro in white. These come in at around $350. That is the most expensive pod light out of all of these that we purchased for this shootout. They measure 2,450 lumens, no claim candela. They still have that lifetime warranty. Thankfully, because it's super expensive, we measured 34,200 candela, however. So if I had to base this off of intensity, I would say the Baja is not doing so hot. At 10 meters, we measured 342 lux. Here's what their amber looks like, still at around $350. The lumens stay the same, the lifetime warranty, and we measured 32,000 candela or 320 lux at 10 meters. It didn't lose a lot of brightness switching over to the amber lens, but still there wasn't a lot of brightness to begin with. Let's move to Hertic Studios. The assembled in America Hertic Studios BA2 in the white color spot beam pattern. They come in at around $220 on their website, which is a very competitive price when you compare it to all of these other pod lights. In our testing, we measured 35,500 candela. We got at 10 meters, 355 lux. Here's what their amber version looks like, still at around $220. They have a claimed candela of 41,250. We measured 26,300. That is way less than their claimed candela. So be it, it's still 41,000 for their claim. It's not bright enough to be competitive in this spot beam pattern shootout. As you can see at 10 meters, we got 263 lux. Now I would show you the KCC Series C2, but that only comes in a flood beam pattern. So now that wraps up the spot beam pattern. Let's get on over to the flood driving beam pattern. Flood is an extremely important beam pattern. If I was gonna buy one of these, I would use them as a work light, a work scene light. We're gonna categorize the work, scene, and flood all into one. Just call them flood for the sake of this video. It's really important to have the entire area illuminated with a flood beam pattern. So what you need to look for is wide. You need to look for something that is tall, and then of course you want something that's bright enough to light up the whole area. If you're outside camping with your friends and you have this mounted on your roof rack, the last thing you want is just a spot beam pattern in the ground. That's not going to help you see what you're doing in nighttime. Let's get rolling. First thing we're gonna do is the Diode Dynamics SSC2 in the flood beam pattern. They come in at the same pricing as most of their diode products at $180. When we measured the candela, we measured 405, so their claim candela was pretty conservative. So we're gonna push ahead about 5 feet away from the wall just to show you guys the beam pattern. The SSC2 Sport does have a yellow lens and it looks like this. They have a claim candela of 315 and we measured the candela at around 332. It's very close, it's very accurate. Their claim candela is very spot on. Now here's what the SSC2 Pro looks like. Their more expensive pod light coming in at $280. They have a claim candela of 700, whereas we measured 690. So like I said, very accurate. This is what it looks like in the flood beam pattern. This is what the SSC2 Pro in yellow looks like in the flood beam patterns. We still find it at $280. They have a claim candela of 650, and our measured candela was at around 620. Now this behemoth from Auxbeam only comes in the spot beam pattern, so we're gonna disregard that one for this test. Let's go ahead and move to the Morimoto 2-banger. The Morimoto 2-banger HXB, the brighter version pod light in white, the flood beam pattern, they come in at around $285, and they have a claim candela of 900. In our testing, we measured 1,150. I measured it around 138 inches from 5 feet 2 inches away from the wall, where their Diode Dynamics SSC2 came in at 118 inches. You can definitely tell this flood beam pattern is wider, but it is not taller. You do want the height as well in a flood beam pattern. So far, that's brighter than all other pod lights we have shown you, but I think there's some that can do better. This is what the yellow flood beam pattern looks like from Morimoto, the 2-banger HXB. The pricing is around $285 as of the time of this video. They have a claim candela of 625, and we measured 740. So as you can see, the claim candela seems to be pretty conservative from Morimoto. Here's what the Morimoto 2-banger NCS, their entry level, looks like on a flood beam pattern. These ones come in still at around $185 with a claim candela of 475. All of the Morimoto 2-bangers that you see, NCS and HXB, have that lifetime warranty, and in our testing we measured 570 candela. This is what the yellow version of their NCS 2-banger looks like in a flood beam pattern. Still the same price at $185. They have a claim candela of 230, and in our own testing, we measured 260 candela. Let's move back to the rigid SRM. Now there is a flood beam pattern, and then there is a diffused beam pattern. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the diffused is supposed to be the flood. The diffused looks a lot more like flood, and you'll see that in a second. First, let me show you their flood beam pattern. The rigid SRM Pro in the white flood version, that is around $149, but keep in mind they're sold individually with an incredible lifetime warranty. That is the highest measured candela rating so far in all of our flood beam patterns, but look at that beam pattern. It is not wide enough. I measured 64 inches, which is about half as wide as most of the other flood pod lights that we are testing. All that light is condensed into the center there. This is not going to illuminate the work area. It's not going to help you set up a tent in the middle of the night. This is not the beam pattern you want. Now, like I said, they have a diffused light output as well, which I would consider more of the flood beam pattern than the previous one, but that's still pretty good. When I measured the width, it was at 100 inches, so it is a lot bigger than their flood optic. If you want a flood optic from Rigid, definitely go with the diffused. Now, Nilight does not have a flood beam pattern, so let's go ahead and move to the Baja Designs. The Baja S2 Sport White has a beam pattern that says work/scene. It's essentially a flood beam pattern, and they have a price at around $225. They do have a lifetime warranty though, and we measured 1,360 lux. This is one of the most competitive work/scene/flood beam patterns that I have seen. I like the width of this beam pattern, I like the height, I like the color temperature. Everything about this screams a good floodlight. If you were gonna purchase a floodlight, I could highly recommend the Baja S2 Sport White. If you want this beam pattern, you could get it with the work scene in an amber lens as well. We measured 1,220 candela with this. But what about their Baja S2 Pro, their top dog in white, their work scene beam pattern? They have 2,245 lumens with a price tag of about $350. Like I said, this Baja is the most expensive one in all of this. I don't see a claim candela, but we measured the candela at 1,050. It is silly though that we measured the candela and it was less than their sport version. Either way, if you're gonna get the Baja S2 in either the Pro or the Sport and you get the flood beam pattern, I can highly recommend that and say I stand by that. This is what the S2 Pro in amber looks like with the work scene lens. They advertise 2,450 lumens. Still, even if you get the amber, it's around $350. I don't see a claim candela, so we measured it, and we measured 1,540. I'm confused as to why the amber version is brighter than their entry level, but here we are. This is what we're testing. This is what we're seeing. We want to make sure that we're doing this so that you guys are well informed when purchasing your pod lights. That's impressive stuff from Baja Designs with their flood beam pattern. I really enjoy that look. Let's move on to Mictuning. The Mictuning 20-watt flush mount LED pod light comes in only at around $40 with no warranty in sight. This is the last thing you want in your vehicle. Do not buy this. We have a measured candela in the flood beam pattern of 420, but I suspect that that'll only be 420 and not 0 for no more than a year. If you don't put a warranty on your product, you don't stand behind it, in my opinion. If you're going to cut a hole in your bumper, you should put your trust in something like the 4-banger from Morimoto that we tested a while back. Now let's go ahead and move to the Hertic Studios. This one does come in a white and an amber. The Hertic Studios BA2 in white flood beam pattern has a price tag of around $220. They have a claim candela of 8,775. That's the highest claim candela that I see in all of our testing when it comes to the flood beam pattern. In our testing, we measured 6,750, so we couldn't quite get as much as they had claimed in our testing. That is the highest number, but look at this beam pattern. Is that a spot beam pattern? It's not a wide beam pattern, and it's sure as heck not a flood beam pattern. I would not recommend this to anybody that I know, but even though the measured candela or the claim candela is astronomically high for a flood beam pattern, look at what it looks like outside. This is not lighting up your work area. This is not lighting up the campsite. All of that light is centralized as if it was like a condensed combo beam pattern. That is not what you want if you're buying a flood beam pattern. You want a good width and a good height, but you want the width and the height intensity to be strong. You don't want a splotch of light in the middle and then really dim light around that hotspot. The Hertic Studios BA2 do have an amber lens and it looks like this. Still around $220. They have a claim candela of 8,775. Even though I find it useless, we measured a candela of 4,600. Now let's go ahead and see how the KC C2 C series performs. I wish KC had more beam patterns than just the flood because I really enjoy the C series lineup. They have a claim candela of 2,700, and in our testing we measured 1,250. They have a 5-year warranty, still a good product, but we could do better. That wraps up all of the flood beam patterns. Now, like I said, some perform better with different beam patterns. The flood of the Baja Designs was really good, but the spot of the Morimoto was really good compared to the Baja Designs. So just keep that in mind. You can't just say this one's best or that one's best. It's really important to just take a deep dive and understand all of these products and their features individually. Now let's move on to the combo lights. What I'm looking for is a hot spot in the middle and a little bit of supplemental light on each side. Let's see what we can do from Diode Dynamics. The Diode Dynamics SSC2 Sport in white with their combo beam pattern looks like this, still at around $180, and they have a claim candela of 16,000. Their 8-year warranty is still all right. Not the best, as you can tell. There was a lot more lifetime warranties out there for pod lights. In our testing, we measured 17,800. So we measured more than their conservative claim candela. The SSC2 Sport in yellow looks just like this, coming in at around $180. And their claim candela on their website was 13,500. In the same testing we've been doing this entire time, we measured 14,500. So still their claim candela was conservative essentially across the board. The Diode Dynamics SSC2 Pro in white with the combo beam pattern looks like this. The price is around $280 and they have a claim candela of 27,000. We measured 27,500. This is what the SSC2 Pro, their top version, looks like in yellow. Still $280. Their claim candela was 24,000. This one we measured 19,100. So we measured ours to be a little bit lower than their claim candela, but that's okay. I think we could still do better than this as far as intensity goes. Now the Auxbeam does not have a combo driving beam pattern, so let's go ahead and move to the 2-banger combo HXB beam pattern. The Morimoto 2-banger HXB, their brightest version pod light, still comes in around $285 with a claimed candela of 65,000. That is the highest claimed candela out of all of these pod lights when it comes to the combo beam pattern. But in our testing, we measured 70,800 candela. So we measured super high, higher than their conservative claimed candela amount, but higher than any other pod light in this entire test. If you want an intense light output from a combo beam pattern, this is it. The 2-banger HXB in yellow looks like this with the combo beam pattern. Still the same pricing at $285. Their claim candela on this one was 42,500 and we measured 47,500. So you did lose your brightness, but again, you lose brightness when you convert over to the yellow lens. The 2-banger NCS in white with the combo beam pattern looks like this. They have a claim candela of 42,000, so a lot less than their claim candela of 65,000 in their HXB version. That's just fine. We measured 46,500, so it was still a conservative number. That it's not a bad pod light for their entry level, especially when looking at that price point and comparing the price point to all the other ones that you've seen so far. This is what it looks like in yellow, the 2-banger NCS in the combo beam pattern. They have a claim candela of 21,000 and we measured 21,500. So our measurements were very accurate and pretty spot on to their claim candela. Now let's move on to the Rigid SRM Pro. Now they don't have a combo beam pattern, but they do have a driving beam pattern that looks very similar to combo driving beam patterns. So let's check out the driving pattern. The Rigid SRM Pro has that lifetime warranty and we measured 290 maximum lux. I do not see a candela rating here, but 290 max lux is not the brightest we've tested, but it does have a very good spread of light. I'm sorry, Rigid, but looking at the Morimoto 2-banger HXB numbers, they are completely destroying your numbers. It's time to step it up. If you're looking at purchasing the Baja Designs combo/driving beam pattern, this is what it looks like. The Baja S2 Sport in white with the driving/combo beam pattern has a price tag of around $225. They have that lifetime warranty that we love, and since we're here, we measure the candela at 15,800. This is what the S2 Sport in amber looks like with the driving/combo beam pattern. Since they don't have a candela rating, we measured it for them. We got 14,900 measured candela. The Baja Designs S2 Pro with the driving/combo beam pattern. They have 2,245 lumens. As you can see, we measured 17,900. The $350 pod lights. That is really expensive for not a good candela rating. Here's the Baja S2 Pro in amber. This is what it looks like with the driving/combo beam pattern. Still extremely expensive, and our measured candela was at 17,200. We didn't lose a lot here with the Baja converting over to the yellow lens, but still the brightness and intensity wasn't quite where I wanted it. Now the Mictuning, the Hertic Studios, and the KCC series do not have a combo beam pattern, so if that's what you're looking for, these ones are out. Now let's move on to the wide driving beam pattern. Full disclosure, the whole reason I'm making this video is because all I see in the comments is, this is best, this is best, this is best. And to be honest, they're always talking about the wide driving beam pattern. And this is a big topic for discussion. I'm going to try to tread lightly. I'm just going to show you guys the facts of what they look like compared to one another. Now let's go into the Diode Dynamics SSC2 Sport with the SAE fog. This is that wide beam pattern. This is going to be a different reading of numbers in comparison to another product that may have just a wide off-road pod light. The SAE is recorded differently, and if you want to see how we did all of these tests specific to SAE standards, be sure to watch the video of how we tested all these pod lights for this specific video. But it produces the wide beam pattern that I'm looking for. If I'm searching for a wide beam pattern, this is what I would want. Their SAE fog does the trick. The Diode Dynamics SSC2 Sport has a 5,000 claim candela, and in our testing, we had measured 4,450. As you can see, it's an extremely wide beam pattern, one of the widest beam patterns we've ever tested here. However, it's not as bright and intense at the width, and you'll see that in the how we test video compared to the Morimoto HXB SAE wide beam pattern. This is what the SSC2 Sport in yellow looks like in their SAE fog pod light. They have a claim candela of 4,400. We measured 4,250, so very, very close to their claim candela. Here's the Diode Dynamics SSC2 Pro, their brighter version. Here's the SAE fog with a claim candela of 8,500. 8,500 claim candela is much better than their 5,000 claim candela of the SAE fog in the Sport pod light. We measured 7,560 candela in our testing. This is what the SSC2 Pro looks like in the SAE fog beam pattern in yellow. They have a claim candela of 7,500, and in our testing, we measured 6,400. So their claim candela is higher than what we've been testing. That's real interesting, and I'd love to see more in depth on this, and I'm sure you will too. That's why we're gonna keep making these videos. Now, just like a lot of the beam patterns, Auxbeam does not have a wide beam pattern, so we're gonna skip that and go straight to the Morimoto 2-banger. I will make a more in-depth video comparing just these two patterns alone. Morimoto is the only other lighting company that I've seen with an SAE wide beam pattern on their pod lights. The 2-banger HXB in white with their SAE wide comes in still at around $285 with a claimed candela of 12,700. In our testing, we measured 15,800. Our measured candela and our claimed candela was higher than both their measured and claimed candela of the Diode Dynamics SSC2 Pro, if you were wondering. This is what it looks like in the SAE wide with the 2-banger HXB in yellow. We have a claimed candela of 8,400. And in our testing, we actually measured 10,500. So consistently across the board, the claimed candela for Morimoto has been pretty conservative. This is what the 2-banger NCS in white, their entry-level pod light, looks like with the SAE wide. They have a claim candela of 8,000, still the same price as every other pod light from Morimoto, the lifetime warranty. We measured 9,500 candela. This is what it looks like in yellow with a claim candela of 4,250. Our measured candela in our testing was 5,400. Now, Rigid doesn't have a wide beam pattern, neither does Nilight. Let's go ahead and check out the Baja Designs. The only other wide beam pattern that I found with these two LED pod lights was from Baja, the Baja S2 Pro. They only advertised 2,245 lumens. We still could not find the claim candela on the wide beam pattern, but we measured it ourselves and got 7,500. But they have that lifetime warranty, so not as bright as even some of the SAE wide and SAE fogs that you just saw. This is what the S2 Pro in amber looks like in their wide beam pattern. Same everything, really expensive at $350. They have 2,245 lumens. It's that lifetime warranty, no claim candela, so we measured it at 7,150. The Baja S2 Sport, their entry level with the wide beam pattern, comes in around $225. They have 2,245 lumens, still with that lifetime warranty, even though it's the entry level pod. Our measured candela was at 6,350. So just a little bit less than their Pro version. Here's what the S2 Sport Amber looks like from Baja With the wide beam pattern, they have a lumen rating of 1,581. The pricing's still around $225, and we measured 6,000 candela. So I get it, that was a lot of information packed into one shootout video. Hopefully this helps you guys in the buying process of one of these pods. If I had to solely say which one's best based off of warranty, I would say that the Baja Designs S2, the Rigid Industries SRM Pro, and the Morimoto 2-bangers come out on top, because they all have a lifetime warranty. Since we all know it's more than just a warranty, let's go ahead and narrow it down. What about the spot beam pattern? What do I say is the best? If we base this off of candela, the Morimoto 2-banger blows away the competition at 140,000 candela. The second leading spot beam is the Morimoto 2-banger NCS, their entry level. That means that the entry level pod light from Morimoto has a more intense beam of light than the Diode Dynamics SSC2 Pro. If you want a pod light intentionally designed to focus the light into a usable spot beam pattern, the Morimoto 2-banger HXB takes the cake. Now, what about the flood beam pattern? What do we recommend? The Hertic Studios BA2 White Flood has the highest candela of 8,775. But look at that beam pattern outside. This is not what you want in a flood beam pattern. You want a bright light, but you also want width and height. That's important if you truly want to light up the work area. The KC C-Series C2, I can't seem to get around that color though of the KC flood beam. In my opinion, it just wasn't as usable as other lights we tested. The Morimoto 2-banger HXB had better width than the Diode Dynamics SSC2 Pro, but the Baja Designs S2 Pro with the work scene lens was the best. It had the height, it had the width, it had the intensity, and the color that I look for. These are just my opinions. I'm sure you guys have your own judgments, and that's fine. What about the combo beam pattern? What would I recommend for combo driving beam patterns? The Morimoto 2-banger HXB combo has the highest candela rating by almost double. The Diode Dynamics SSC2 Pro combo has a very unique beam pattern that I could not recommend. This is not what you want if you are purchasing a combo driving beam pattern. You want something like this, the Baja S2 Pro combo. It has the beam pattern you want. However, the intensity on this is just not here. That means at the brightest point from the 2-banger HXB combo in our testing, it was 288% brighter than the Baja S2 Pro. So in my opinion, the Morimoto HXB 2-banger combo wins in this test. What about the wide? This question I know ruffles a lot of lighting fanboy feathers, so I'll tread lightly on this. Diode Dynamics doesn't seem to have a wide beam pattern, but the SAE Fog seems to be a close competitor. The candela is 7,500 compared to the 12,700 candela from the Morimoto 2-banger SAE wide beam pattern. But what about the light output? As you can see, the SSC2 is wider than the 2-banger. If you wanted the widest beam pattern, this may be a great option for you. The 2-banger does provide much more foreground lighting and has better gradient control, as you can see from the taller beam pattern. It has that intensity shift from the top to the bottom, keeping you from getting blinded when you use these as fog lights. Both of those pod lights have very pleasing characteristics. If you want something really wide, the Diode Dynamics is for you. If you want something with a little more foreground, the 2-banger is for you. I'm not going to tell you guys which one is better. I want you to make the judgment below in the comment section. And always, if you want to see what we have to offer for your guys' vehicle at headlightrevolution.com, type in your year, make, and model, and you'll see everything there.